Have you ever faced a time in life when everything felt heavy, when faith was tested, when loss felt unbearable, or when confusion seemed greater than clarity? It is in those very moments that Surah Al-Imrān, the third chapter of the Quran, speaks to the heart. This surah is not just a historical account, nor is it a simple set of rules. It is a message for people who struggle, who doubt, who hope, and who need strength to keep moving forward. Let's explore together why Surah Al-Imrān is truly guidance in times of struggle. Surah Al-Imrān was revealed in Medina, at a time when the Muslim community was young, vulnerable, and facing tremendous challenges. This surah addresses major events, such as the Battle of Uhud, where the Muslims faced painful losses after an earlier victory at Badr. It also responds to debates with the people of the book, Christians and Jews of that time, reminding them and us about the continuity of God's message. In short, this surah came down when believers needed clarity, encouragement, and resilience. The surah is named after the family of Imrān, the father of Mary, the mother of Jesus. By highlighting their legacy, the Quran reminds us that faith is not limited to one people or one time. It speaks about Mary, a young woman of purity, devotion, and courage. It speaks about Prophet Jesus, a sign of God's power and mercy, and it ties their story back to the universal call of Islam, surrender to the one God. Through this title, the surah unites communities, showing that true faith is about devotion, patience, and trust in God, not about division or pride. So what does Surah Al-Imrān teach us in our moments of struggle? 1. Hold firm to faith. One of its most famous verses says, "And hold firmly to the rope of God, all together, and do not be divided." This verse reminds us that unity and reliance on God are the foundation of strength. Struggles can isolate us, but the Quran calls us to reconnect with God and with each other. 2. Trust the divine plan. The surah acknowledges that life will not always be easy. It says, "Do not weaken and do not grieve, and you will be superior if you are true believers." Even after loss, even after mistakes, God reminds us that He is still with us. 3. Balance between this world and the next. It warns against being deceived by temporary pleasures, reminding us that true success lies in the hereafter. This is not a call to abandon the world, but to live in it with perspective and purpose. 4. Learn from history. The stories of the past are not random. The defeat at Uhud, the debates with other communities, and the examples of prophets all carry lessons, that humans make mistakes, but faith and patience lead to recovery. You may wonder, how does a chapter revealed 1400 years ago still speak to us today? Think about it. When we face loss, whether personal or collective, these verses remind us that even the best generations experienced hardship. When we face division in society, the call to hold firmly to God's rope gives us a way forward. When we feel confused by competing ideologies, this surah provides clarity, affirming that God's truth has always been consistent. And when we feel overwhelmed, the prayers within this surah offer words our hearts long to say. For example, the beautiful dua near the end, "Our Lord, do not let our hearts deviate after you have guided us, and grant us mercy from yourself. Indeed, you are the bestower." This prayer captures the essence of human struggle, acknowledging our weakness and turning to God for stability. Let's draw 3 timeless lessons from Surah Al-Imrān. Struggle is part of faith. The Quran never promises a life free of challenges. Instead, it shows us how to rise through them. Unity brings strength. Division weakens us. But together, with faith, we can overcome trials. Hope is never lost. Even in defeat, even in sorrow, the believer finds light in God's mercy. What makes Surah Al-Imrān so powerful is that it does not deny pain. It does not ignore the reality of loss, fear, or confusion. Instead, it acknowledges them, embraces them, and then lifts us higher with faith. It tells us, yes, you will struggle, yes, you will fall, but if you turn back to God, if you remain patient, if you hold firm to truth, you will rise again. Surah Al-Imrān is more than history. It is a living reminder that God's guidance shines brightest in times of hardship. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, remember these words. Do not weaken and do not grieve, for you will be victorious if you believe. Let the family of Imrān remind you of devotion. Let the lessons of Uhud remind you of resilience. And let the prayers of this surah remind you that God's mercy is always near. Because in the end, Surah Al-Imrān is not only about the struggles of the past. It is about the struggles of your life, today, tomorrow, and always.